Hello and welcome to another Vanmanio video, where today I'll be talking about potentially the UK's most controversial train operating company, Avanti West Coast, and how they have been performing well below par on one of the UK's most important main lines. According to the public, and even politicians, they could be the worst TOC in Great Britain. Trains are either busy, delayed, or just cancelled. Today I delve into the history of Avanti West Coast's franchise, why their services are so poor, and if they are improving. Avanti West Coast, truly the UK's worst TOC? Just before this video starts, please make sure you like and subscribe. Thank you, it means a lot. Also, I'm hoping to do more documentary style videos. One I've got planned is the history of the Class 390 and or the history of Virgin trains, so please make sure you let me know in the comments if you would like one of those too, or both. This video is up to date as of January 2024. Well, let's start in the beginning. Just 8 years ago, as of recording, the franchise holder of the West Coast Mainline Intercity franchise, Virgin Trains, has just lost the bidding process for the next franchise. Just for context, the West Coast Mainline Intercity franchise covers the 6 largest UK cities and operates to all the countries in Great Britain, from the infamous Euston Station up towards Birmingham and onwards towards Manchester, Holyhead, Liverpool, Blackpool, Glasgow or Edinburgh. This West Coast Mainline Intercity franchise has recently been changed, and now is called the West Coast Partnership franchise, to include HS2 services, which were expected at the time to start in the 2020s. We all know how that's panned out. Virgin were pinned up against First Group Trenitalia and MTR Hong Kong. Virgin lost the bidding process due to their partners, Stagecoach, being disqualified for proposing significant pension changes, thus meaning Virgin were also disqualified. That left MTR to face First Trenitalia, with the latter being awarded the franchise in August 2019. Virgin Trains had operated the franchise since its creation in 1997 and heavily modernised the franchise, bringing in a new fleet of trains and several new routes and upgrading the whole West Coast mainline. Punctuality was also relatively high, with 84% of their services arriving on time within 10 minutes in 2015, a stark contrast to Avanti, who we'll look at now. First Trenitalia named the TOC Avanti West Coast, Avanti meaning go ahead in Italian. Ironic, as First Bus's main rivals are Go Ahead buses. Anyway, the franchise commenced on the 8th of December 2019, originally on an 11-year deal until March 2030. The company confirmed that the full diesel Class 221 Super Voyagers would be refurbished and then replaced by bi-mode Hitachi IETs by the 2020s, with the Class 390 Pendolinos going through huge refurbishments to see them well into the 2035s. As well as this, Avanti promised a reliable and more frequent service, increasing frequency on several services, as well as looking at new routes towards Wrexham, Shrewsbury and Walsall. We never really got to see Avanti in full swing though, due to the COVID-19 pandemic hitting the operator just months after starting their franchise. By the time COVID hit, Avanti had not changed much from the previous operations of Virgin, and their trains still in mostly white liveries, and Virgin branding being present throughout the network. Services, like on all operators, were hugely curtailed due to the reduced demand, with hygiene practices introduced due to COVID-19. Avanti's contract was also extended until 2031 under the Emergency Recovery Measures Agreement, or ERMA. Even during a lockdown with reduced services, Avanti still found ways to cancel services. They reportedly lost 10% of their staff due to illness, with them reducing most services to 1 train per hour and cutting back on services to Wales and Shrewsbury. Delays were also common, with services being delayed due to Network Rail train issues or train crews being late. These cancellations and delays occurred well into 2022, even though the COVID pandemic was no longer a threat. More poor performance occurred in August 2022, when Avanti reduced its timetable, citing strike action by its drivers. However, the drivers' union, ASLEF, disputed these claims, blaming Avanti's poor recruitment. This led to a barrage of poor press for Avanti, with the operator slammed for huge numbers of train cancellations, lengthy delays, large overcrowding, and some of the most expensive fares on the British network. Passengers also got locked in at Oxenholme Lake District one night, after an Avanti service arrived so late the station had already been locked up for the night. The poor performance continued, and in October 2022, Avanti's ERMA contract was replaced by a short-term 6-month contract to try and increase reliability and force Avanti to approve their services. This contract was then extended in March 2023 until October. In 2022, the government also gave First Group a £65 million dividend to reward them for their poor service, I assume. Even with a new contract, the poor performance continued, and in November 2022, Avanti had the worst record of train cancellations between 2021 and 2022, with a cancellation rate of 8%. The average was 3.8% across all operators. Imagine that though. You commute daily with Avanti to Euston. Let's say 2 trains a day, 5 days a week, that's 10 altogether, and you're guaranteed at one of those services will be cancelled in that week of commuting. I mean, the pain it must have brought. At one point in September 2022, Avanti's cancellations were so high, up to 12%, that the operator had to hire third-party heritage operators, such as Locomotive Services Limited, to operate select services from Euston to Glasgow, using their fleet of Class 90 locomotives and Mark III carriages. A throwback for a few commuters, that's for sure. Avanti cited lack of staff for their cancellations, with the company undergoing a huge recruitment drive. On another positive note, one of only a few today, Avanti did get round to their Class 390 and 221 refurbishments, with them receiving positive reviews. Currently, all Avanti Super Voyagers and all 11-car Pendolinos have received the refurbishments, with the whole interiors, at least for the Pendolinos, being stripped out and rebuilt to a smart, modern look. Cancellations are also down 8.1% from July 2022, to now being 3.9% from July to September 2023. Let's just skim over the bit that they had 12% of their services cancelled the year before, but anyway. Also, the Class 805s and 807s are due to enter service in early 2024. Sure, this is years later than they were meant to be, but at least they're entering service. These will replace the Class 221 Super Voyagers, which some have already been withdrawn from service. Services have also been improved. As of the December 2023 timetable, more services have been planned to run, with 3 trains an hour to Birmingham restored. However, Avanti did cut services between London and Manchester over the festive period due to a shortage of train crew and to try and increase reliability. However, the company did remove peak times across this period, which is a nice touch. A slow but steady reliability increase led to a new 9-year contract announced by the DfT on September 2023 until October 2032 at the latest, 2026 at the earliest. However, with just a 46% on-time score in September 2023 when the contract was announced, this, quite rightly, sparked huge outbursts from the media. Manchester Mayor Andy Burnham said the new contract and delays were unacceptable, with Avanti saying the delays and cancellations were beyond the company's control. Avanti also still struggle with crew shortages, with historic leave agreements leading to huge staff shortages across the network, with too little staff present to fill for those unable to work. Network Rail can also be blamed for Avanti's woes, with the West Coast Main Line's reliability, points, signalling, etc. being at an all-time low, with some delays and cancellations definitely due to this. However, some of the blame can certainly still be pinned on Avanti. So, will reliability improve in the future? Well, there's nothing to say it will at the moment. Hopefully Avanti's recruitment drive will pay off, and their train crew shortages can be a problem of the past. However, delays and problems due to Network Rail will always happen, so hopefully these can be minimised by Network Rail themselves and Avanti can get back on track. Avanti started off with unfortunate occurrence of a huge global pandemic. This hindered any chance of Avanti running their franchise in the way they really intended to. However, huge delays, frequent cancellations and emergency timetable reductions has caused frustration from passengers and politicians alike. Even Avanti themselves know their performance isn't good enough, with their CEO resigning over this a few months ago. Their delays also led to knock-on effects, with passengers having to use other operators like Chiltern or East Midlands Railway, leading to their services being affected negatively when they really shouldn't be. They've tried to improve performance, with it somewhat succeeding. This has come at a price, with services being reduced over the festive 2023 period, and only 46% of services currently being on time means we are still waiting for a reliable Avanti West Coast. They definitely can be called the worst operator in the UK, but personally, my journeys have been relatively smooth with Avanti, and Trans-Pennine Express is definitely up there with one of the worst too. However, for the thousands of people that rely on their services across Great Britain, many don't make it. It's not all their fault, and it's quite frequently due to problems out of their control, with COVID not helping things. But at the time of recording, there have been a whopping 46 cancellations today, just from Euston, and it's only 6 PM when I'm writing this. These have also been, mostly, train crew related cancellations. Although their trains may be nice and newly refurbished, if the service is poor, who cares how good a train is? Would you rather be there or not be there? I would say be there, regardless of the train. Hopefully, Avanti can improve with the introduction of the new Class 805 and 807s, boosting Avanti's fleet and thus improving services. Their recent recruitment drive, hopefully, can also be a success. At the moment though, they are barely fit to be an operator, let alone one of the UK's largest and most important routes, and the busiest main line in Europe. Thank you for watching. A slightly shorter documentary style video today, but hopefully still informative as ever. It's been quite a blur since I took over the contract, thus some things may be out of order and a bit messy. Anyway, I hope you still enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe if you did, and I hope you guys have had a brilliant Christmas and New Year. Thank you, goodbye.